Alright. So, the idea of this Shadowblade deck is instead of going like a typical Shadow deck where we're really trying to go Thoughtseize into Shadow, into like Stub, Snap Stub, this one we're going a little bit bigger than that. We're going like Thoughtseize into Stoneforge, into Shadow or Gurmag plus equipment, or we're going Thoughtseize into removal, into threat. But we're trying to improve the threat density on the blue-black shell of Shadow, that Gurmag Wraith Shadow hand disruption shell, by adding in Stoneforge Mystic and then 2 copies of Tide Hollow Sculler. The idea here is just to be a little more consistent, getting pressure on the board while keeping a decent amount of that Shadow interaction behind us. In the sideboard, we've got 2 copies of Path to Exile, good unconditional removal, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Mana Leak for a lot of the control matchups, for the mid-range matchups, but especially with like Esper Control kind of coming out of the woodwork. Drown in the Loch, good flexible removal spell or counter spell. Damping Sphere for Tron, Teferi Time Raveler, great against the control decks, great as a tempo play against the mid-range decks. Nihil Spellbomb, Kaya's Guile, good for Grave Hate. Guile also gives you the additional life gain against like Burn to go along with 2 copies of Collective Brutality. So this is where we're going to start with this Shadowblade shell and see how it goes. We played Shadowblade a couple months ago, and it was okay. I want to say we like 4-1 with it, and we've got great screenshots of like strapping up a Gurmag Angler with a Sword of Feast and Famine. Important interactions to note: Batterskull turns on Stubborn Denial, which is really nice. You can have turns where you like have your opponent cast a spell into Stoneforge, open 3 mana, you put in a Batterskull, equip up your Germ token, and get to hard stub off of it. The last build we didn't have Luris, so we'll see how that works. How many times will we Thought Scour our equipment this league? Good question. Let's find out the answer. I'm going to take a guess and say 3 times. But 2 of those are going to be equipment that we didn't need in the matchup anyway. How about that? It's my compromise guess. You'll high roll and say 5. It's not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. I think it's a safe one for sure. If you had said I'll high roll and say like 10, I wouldn't even know if we'd cast Thought Scour 10 times in this league. But let's find out. As soon as we have an opponent join us. Eventually. No opponent. I know I always Thought Scour all my red sources and graces. Usually I'm pretty good about like fetching out like Blood Crypt is my second fetch if I'm planning on scouring. But I also prefer to run Shadow lists with 3 red sources, like Grixis lists with 3 red. 2 Blood Crypts and a Steam Vents. And it's because not only have I had a number of games where I've turn 1 Thought Scoured myself and hit 2 red sources, but I also just like having the extra shock. Yeah, you lead on Grave, but if you're playing 3 red sources, you can't possibly hit all 3 of them. Alright. So we're up against a Luris deck, which could mean basically anything. So passing with fetch land here, see what happens. We could like Thought Scour ourselves, which I'm probably going to do here. Just get Hallowed Fountain, Thought Scour. Any equipment? 0 for 1. Now that I think about it, do we have Bobble in this list? I kind of feel like we don't. We do not. This will be fun then. Giving our opponents a chance. Mill, you say? So they must have... No, why didn't they archive trap us round 1? Or turn 1, whatever. So we'll just take a fatal push and race. Quick drop and rejoin. Nope, too late now. We're here. But yeah, Bobble over Thought Scour probably would have been a good move. Could have been better. So what I'm going to do is Thought Scour them. I was going to say, because if I hit a... what's it called? Thoughtseize. I would want to Thoughtseize before Inquisition, so I could take the Archive Trap and then Fetch Shock. And am I going for Stoneforge here? Probably just have to, right? Why is opponent not archive trapping me? Are they like really trying to slow roll this thing? Push my Tide Hollow. You get your push. You can push my Stoneforge. Alright, so that's good. That means I get to Inquisition away some mill spell. Are they just drawing like mono fatal pushes? That's pretty funny. So I'll take away push so they can't kill Luris. And then this next turn I'll just get back Tide Hollow, take Archive Trap. I mean, so far, no equipments have been milled, which is pretty hilarious. Hey. So let's go Tide Hollow. How close are they to milling me out? So this is 10. Triple Orb is going to do some work. But if they do play Triple Orb here, I can just, like, attack Gurmag Luris for a turn and then attack just Gurmag the turn after. So this is going to mill 3, 6, 9, 12. So I guess I can't race it now. Or I can play Shadow. I just got to kill them next turn, right? No, I shouldn't have fetched there. I would have killed them if I hadn't have fetched there. Or no, I would have had to have not fetched and hit... I would have had to have not fetched and hit Godless Shrine is the last card in my deck. It's a bunch of cards milled on their side. Alright. So I can't cast anything now. Can't tell if you're shouting or talking in your normal voice. Well, you keep coming in here and saying the exact same thing. So we're going to say goodbye. Not fetch, only attack with fish and they whiff. Yeah, that would have been good. Would have been good. Alright, Brutalities, Mystical Dispute, Mana Leak. Drown. Is this a Teferi matchup? I feel like it could be, but maybe not. Fairy protects your fetches. Possibly. We'll get something like this a try. Mike with the hammer drop. Savagery from Mr. Mike, Nice Guy. No, like, the same dude has come in and out a few times over the last, like, few months. And always says the exact same thing. Like, oh, is your your normal voice just shouting or something like that. And I've given him a couple chances to like not go overboard, and he just always comes in, says the exact same thing, and I'll say something like, "Oh, well, you can like turn your volume down because nobody else has said anything about it being an issue." Um, and after a certain point, it just becomes like blatantly obvious that he's trolling, especially when we've seen the same person go to other chats and say the same thing. Like, if you want to go that overboard for a troll possibility, go crazy, but don't do it here. Some people have nothing better to do, just get a rise out of you, right? Like, if that's how you want to spend your days, go crazy. But it's not how I plan on spending mine. Alright, so I can fetch into turn, Mystical Dispute, and Archive Trap. Just dispute a crab. So let's get Hallowed Fountain. See if they want to Archive Trap. They do not. Let's find out why they don't want to Archive Trap me. So let's go Orb, Silent Clearing, take a Visions of Beyond. Say go. If TBR isn't needed in most matchups, Esper could be good. It could be. I don't know how much I think ultimately it will be. It's certainly not the worst color combination, but I do still think there's a lot of times it doesn't really hold its weight. Okay. So now we have got what may or may not be considered an actual threat. And Gurmag Angler dodging Fatal Push is like such a huge reason to play the card. See, Bolt helps so much though in Kroxa. So usually the red variations of Shadow are just going to have more proactive options available to them. So like Tarmogoyf, you can pretty much always play turn 2. Lightning Bolt to the face is like always something you can do, or Lightning Bolt yourself. Things like that. And that's kind of like what gives the red-based Shadow decks a big edge a lot of the times. Where with a lot of the blue-black X-based Shadow decks, you play so many more reactive cards that it can make it difficult to get that same kind of explosiveness or same proactivity to help close out games. Death Shadow mana bases always have been able to support 4 colors. You think it'd be worth it to add red too? If we're talking about an Esper list like this, possibly. If we're talking about an Esper list with Ranger Captain, probably not. So I think Ranger Captain's just like a little too much on the splash plan. That's a bunch of dudes to hit the yard. Yeah, double white is very difficult, and you usually have to fetch like Godless Shrine and Hallowed Fountain. You really don't want to be fetching up Sacred Foundry, which means that your last land is more often than not got to be like Blood Crypt. Are they trying to mill themselves out? Or does Visions of Beyond check both graveyards? Draw a card. If a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, draw 3. I learned something new today. Yeah, like, I think that the red splash is fine. You just typically see the red splash out of lists that are less in on any particular color. So, like, you'll see red splash out of, like, base Sultai lists that are already just splashing green for, like, Tarmogoyf or Tarmogoyf plus one other thing. What's that Sweet Swamp opponent has? Secret Lair. It's the Seb McKinnon Swamp. Yep. No problem. It is a Sweet Swamp. Maybe they're trying to mill themselves out. Maybe there's just like some card I don't know about, and they're. It's got to be Visions of Beyond, right? It's like they just hit the 20 card threshold. Seb has a sweet Kickstarter going on. I feel like I heard that before. I could be wrong. Alright, so this is Crypt Incursion, target me. So I'm going to respond by Nihil Spellbombing myself, and they scoop. Good talk. Probably Visions maybe wanted to incursion himself. Maybe. Like, it could have been he had both Crypt Incursions and Visions of Beyond and wanted to, like, Crypt Incursion me and Visions himself or something. And when we played the second Nihil Spellbomb, it just kind of, like, messed that up. It's always possible. No. Deck's perfect. I have his Chalice of the Void playmat from a previous Kickstarter. That's got to look pretty sweet. Ugh. Can't keep that. Guess technically we could keep it. Probably advise against keeping it. We'll bottom a fetch land here because I want to like Inquisition on turn 1 and probably Thoughtseize on turn 2. Or we just dismember this on 1. Alright. So if we dismember the crab, we like save ourselves from some mill. But if they have a second crab, we don't actually have a way to kill it. So I'm going to lead on Hand Disruption here instead. So that if they had the second crab, I could take it. Alright, fetch land. Be nice to us. So there's shadows. So I can get our shadows. That's not the worst. So we'll force the surgical action. All his work is so good. I want to buy one of these mats, even though I haven't played IRL since way before COVID. I mean, it's still, like, cool to have sweet mats, right? Do you want to surgical? You got it. We've got no more Death's Shadows. Mine's under a work laptop right now. Not ideal, but still nice to look at. I mean, Magic playmats are just like the greatest... what's the word? Mouse pads ever, right? Alright. So they're down to Obero, Fatal Push, and they can add Lurrus to their hand, but that wouldn't make a ton of sense for them. So I guess we'll just go ahead and nab Fatal Push. Cling to Dust. Yeah, we'll take that one. Just go ahead and pop your yard now so you don't get priority opportunity to land plus cling. Alright, now this Thoughtseize basically isn't leaving my hand until they add Lurrus to theirs. Gurmag Angler is good. If their last unknowns drown in the lock, this is key Inquisition here. See. Same with the mouse pad mat. Right. Like, I've used so many for mouse pads. It's amazing. That's what I do too. I have two of my older play mats that I use for Magic Online on my laptop for my mouse. See? I'm glad I'm not the only one that does this. I'm guessing they're saving... Do I care about this? So might as well use this mana leak. We'll crash in with Gurmag again. It's crack clearing. Of course, we crack clearing and draw a white card immediately. But the idea was like, if my opponent casts a spell, I'm going to crack the clearing anyway. Alright, so they finally add Luris. So we know this is safe. And we'll get tapped what? Fountain? Sure. Thoughtseize the Luris. And what have you got? Visions is a redraw. Soul Guide Lantern is a redraw. I don't think they have anything since Drown in the Lock's not an out because they can't fetch at 1 life. Alright. In the words of Mitt, who let the dogs out? Great song. We gotta figure out how to get our music playing. Like, I've now got copyright protected music. Alright, that's playing. So, let's go back to the main screen. We just have to figure out the right audio setting while we wait for our next opponent. So, desktop audio. Does not appear to be changing anything. Oh, yes, it is. All right. Can you hear that verse? Is it too loud or too quiet? Give me some idea on the audio so I can adjust it. So I can't hear like anything except through the headphones. Little too loud. Is that the music's normal voice or is it shouting? Touche. Alright, so like the music's playing right now. I can lower it a bit But I'm afraid if I go too low, you're not going to be able to hear any... You can't hear anything. Alright. So, like, give me an idea here. I'm going to put it, like, right in the middle. So just tell me too low, too high. It is playing right now. What am I getting rid of? Louder? Alright. Let's see. I think it's moving to the next song. Get rid of Watery Grave. That's good. Like where it's at. Like I said, I can't hear anything about where it's at, so I'm going off of y'all for the audio up down. Perfect. Nice. All right, so now the channel's got audio. I can like kind of hear it through headphones. What's this music like? So I think this is the retro gaming station. Tarmogoyf faction, eh? We'll thought scour ourselves. I know it can make the Tarmogoyf bigger, but I'm planning on like casting a spell next turn regardless, so let's get a Godless Shrine and play Tide Hollow. Yeah, we can check out like some of the radio options that are available here. Maybe I gotta figure out a better way to do my audio so I can hear it. I can like kind of hear it in the background. It's fine. Hellboy coming in with 5 gifted subs to the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's see, we got new subscribers in Ricardo, also known on Magic Online as Mario Gomes 05. Jacob Fumich, Salem, the Dogfish, and Paulo Theodoro. All of y'all, thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the channel. And for all our new subscribers, enjoy all of our custom Death Shadow emotes. That's a bunch of Death Shadows. Hooray for music. I know, the channel was a little bland. Now we've got music. We're slowly working our way up in the world here. We're like a solid 2.5 on the streamer level, trying to work up to like a 10. So opponent hits us in the face with a Tarmogoyf. We say ow. Yeah, super nice of Hellboy indeed. The old triple shadow turn, eh? So what does that mean I need to draw? Like Fatal Push, Gurmag Angler. I just like don't want to give them Lightning Bolt back. Just a Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer would be pretty sweet here. Definitely at least a 3.75. That's a pretty good rating as far as I'm concerned. Am I flashing in Snapcaster here? I think that I am. Am I shocking? No. Like, I will happily trade this this Snapcaster for a Shadow if my opponent wants to get frisky. Time to play some Paper Modern. Good luck. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for hanging out. All right. Silent Clearing, not the best draw in the world. Watery Grave, also not the best draw in the world. So, a whole bunch of stuff I'm dead to. That is one of them because I have to block with the Tide Hollow. So let's see, I go block, block, block. They fetch and shock, hit me for 4. They get bolt back, I die to bolt. Yep. Kind of digging this music station, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, Path is great, Teferi's great, Kai's great. Drown's pretty good, Spellbomb's not the worst. Board outs. Tide Hollow is probably pretty bad. Board out some Hand Disruption and the Hand Disruption Mirror. Board out a Stub. Couple Wraiths. And let's do this thing. So let's see, some of our music options on here. We've got like a lot of your typical genres: alternative, blues, classical, pop, country, disco, EDM, emo. We can like rotate through as we go. We'll do like a different station every day or something until we find some grooves we like. And I'm gonna have to like go back through and check and see how the volume is later. Esper am I playing first? Guess still, yeah. Like, Veil of Summer makes play mold decisions a little weird. Hex Drinker. Let's get Hallowed Fountain. Thought Scour myself. Second Land is good. So I guess, am I going Stoneforge or am I going Thought Scour, Thought Seize. Probably Scour Seize. This game's not looking particularly great for us. So we're assuming they just drop a Scourge down here. Yep. Alright, what are my options? I can Teferi bounce. I can Stoneforge. I think it's just Teferi bounce. If they want to spend their turn replaying this Scourge, it means they don't get to level up the Hex Drinker. And if they spend the turn leveling up Hex Drinker, then that would play better into Snap Kaya's Guile. Wagner, how's it going? What's going on with the deck redemption? Are you almost to it, or did you hit it? Don't know yet. Plague Engineer off the top. Dang. It's worth a try. So let's go. Stoneforge. Get. Am I getting Batter Skull or am I getting a sword? I always get Sword of Feast and Famine, right? And then we can... Do I have a way of killing them next turn? Like, let's say they miss the land drop. I get Godless Shrine here. Go to 7. Thoughtseize them, go to 5. Next turn, equip up, or put in Feast and Famine, equip up a Shadow. If I draw a fetch land, they're dead. Ah, that's close. Take push, play Shadow, say go. And if they play like EE on 1, they blow up both of their Hex Drinkers. EE on 3. Play land first. Are you talking about for the extra untap there? So I don't think the extra untap's doing anything for me. Alright, so you can make this shadow big enough to tangle with my shadows. So he discarded the Scourge, so he's got nothing in hand. Am I attacking? He's got to lose a life to blow up the engineered explosives. So yeah, we're not attacking, but he gets access to... I guess he can't add Luris to his hand, can he? Why not scour before combat? Still have the mana to put sword into play and equip plus. You could have drawn a fetch removal. Should have done that. You are correct. Alright, he's 1 life. 2 lands he can't add mana with. Fetch lands are dead. Planning on just cracking both peat lands. So that's lethal if he doesn't have anything. One blind draw plus a draw for peat land. He's got to draw exactly Fatal Push. So it has to be something that's 1 black. I think I just go for it. Gotta be like Fatal Push or Veil. I think those are the only outs. Is it a fatal push? Not a fatal push currently in hand. Is it a fatal push off the top of the library? Should not have tapped the Overgrown Tomb for that. It's like Lightning Bolt doesn't do it. Or I guess Lightning Bolt does kill the Stoneforge, doesn't it? I didn't even think about that. That was a punt. That was a punt. So then I gotta wonder, do they have the bolt or did they draw the bolt off the peatland? Doesn't matter too much, they had the bolt either way. This is a dono deck. No, this was just like the most requested archetype yesterday. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back in just a second and we'll get on to match 3. Alright, decided to get ice too. On to match number 3. What do we got? Hopefully something cool. But yeah, that last game, didn't think about Lightning Bolt isn't out. I don't know if that would have affected my play there. Maybe it would. Like, when we're talking about just Fatal Push isn't out, then Fatal Push or Veil of Summer, then we're talking about like 5 or 6 outs. If we add in Lightning Bolt, now we're getting up to like 9 to 10 outs. So maybe like a 20% chance is enough to where we don't go for it, but a 10% chance is. Alright. What are we bottoming? Sword. And it'd feel really bad if we end up being up against a deck where Sword of Fire and Ice is good. Alright, so let's go Manamorphose. Turn 2, we'll Thought Seize the Stormwing entity. I was so very much expecting second Stormwing entity there. I'm a little disappointed, actually. Darts me in the face. You got it. Sprite Dragon. I wonder if this deck needs to be like Esper Shadow with Luris as a companion. Like, you lose Stoneforge, Gurmag Angler, Vapor Snag. That's rough. Can't currently flashback darts, though. Alright, so Stoneforge gets Batterskull. Like, I still need to find a removal spell in my next draw step. Alright. Sprite Dragon getting it done for opponent. So Guile is great. Brutality is great. Dispute's okay on the play. Path is great. Wraiths are bad. Feasts and Famines, eh. something like this. Sure. We've got an answer to Stormwing. We've got an answer to a cheap threat early. We've got Snapcaster plus whichever one we need to buy back. And opponent mold to 6. Heal. So let's think about how our life total is going to play out. We Thoughtseize, go to 16. They play Swift Spear, hit us to 15. We could fetch Shock to 12, have a Shadow that dies to a Dart. That didn't seem great, so let's just take the Swift Spear. Alright, so what I'll probably do here, depending on what our opponent plays, is I might get like a tapped Shock land and then go like basic Swamp, snap Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. That way I get like this leap effect. Like if they go Bolt, Lava Dart me here, then I'm going from Shadow surviving, or Shadow like not being able to get cast because it's just too big, to Shadow outgrowing their removal in like a turn. So take Bolt there, so next turn we can Thoughtseize Bedlam Reveler, get down Shadow. Yep. You have the Stormwing? Sure. Brutality's not bad. And we'll just pass from here. Maybe a Mountain Sprite Dragon. This is kind of waiting to see if they're going to blow a bunch of spells to try to kill me with this Sprite Dragon. Looks like at the moment they are. So let's just go 2 modes, duress, drain 2 life. And we will get rid of Dismember. Yep. And say go. Alright, on to game 3. Anything we want to change up based on what we saw? Not really. Maybe like Fire and Ice isn't worth it. Because I keep thinking about like, oh, well, we get to have a threat that dodges Vapor Snag and Lightning Bolt, whatever. But like Fire and Ice isn't coming down realistically until like turn 3 at the earliest, maybe later. No, it's probably still worth it. Because it can be a little defensive too. We could have like a Stone Forge, throw a Fire and Ice on it, and now all of a sudden we're blocking whatever. Let's go Delta Pass. Reason for this is if they go like Manamorphose Stormwing Entity, I want to be able to Mystical Dispute it. If they go light and, or if they go attack, light up the stage, that's fine. I get to like untap Inquisition. Alright, so here I can get basic Swamp and Inquisition. So they are planning the Stormwing route. Alright. Throw Fire and Ice on a Batterskull and it's game over if you can get there. I feel like a Batterskull by itself is probably game over, right? Alright, so their draw for turn was second Spire Bluff Canal. So sack this to Dart, sure. They cast Stormwing. Mystical Dispute that. So let's escalate this. -2/-2, drain 2 life. Kill you, drain 2. Ditch. I guess that just silent clearing is fine. So you can just play Godless Shrine tapped here and say go. Yep. Yeah, we'll go ahead and crack the clearing just to see what we're drawing into. It might inform delve decisions. It might change an opinion here or there. Yep. So, Foothills, Stormwing, unknown. Metamorphose. Stormwing is great for us. Assuming their last card's not a Spell Pierce. That's gotta mean Lightning Bolt, right? Should have pathed in response to the fetch. I don't think it mattered because he was fetching after he'd resolved his Stormwing Scry. Yep. Called the Lightning Bolt. Like, he should have fetched before he scryed with Stormwing. And as soon as he didn't fetch, then the Stormwing scry was going to resolve, and then I wanted to path after he scryed. Because if he scryed anything to the top, I wanted to get rid of it. Am I trading a Lurrus for a Swift Spear here? Probably, because we're just like out racing everything with the Gurmag. Mostly to play around Pierce. Sure. If that's the case, then yeah, I could have pathed in response to the fetch. That would have been fine. So this isn't lethal. Oh, they didn't float mana. That's so funny. They didn't float mana off their mountain they sacked. Oh man, they couldn't pay for the mystical dispute because they didn't float a red off the mountain that they sacked to the dart. Opponent did in fact learn something today. Get wrecked, nerd. Viking, how's it going? Does in fact feel bad. Can confirm. Yo, this music is wild. House party up in here. I'm liking the music so far. Viking, we're doing pretty good. We're in League 2. We 4-1 the first league. We're, I think, 2-1 right now in this league. So, can't complain too much. Windswept Heath Pass. So, could be Heliod, could be... Ah, yes, could be 5-color Niptolite. So, we'll take Remand. If they want to Valki to get Snapcaster or Wraith, that's fine. Yep. I wonder if they're supposed to take Wraith here. Thrill House, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming by and hanging out with us. Easy, easy, easy. Let's get Watery Grave, play out our Death Shadow. Sego. Love me some Esper in Modern. As long as you don't think this is like a good iteration of Esper, we're on the same page. I just don't want to severely disappoint anybody and be like, you know what? This is Esper by name, not so much Esper by practice. Alright, so if they have Bring to Light in 2 turns, I could Stoneforge Mystic, get like a Feast and Famine here, but I can't kill them before Bring to Light comes down if they hit lands. So I'm going to go for the Thought Scour, try to hit like fetches or removal for this to speed up my clock. Like if we'd hit that Dismember, we could have dismembered Valki, hit for a big chunk there. But maybe this next turn we're supposed to play Stoneforge, because if they Bring to Light, or that's fine too. I was gonna say if they Bring to Light for like a Niv Mizzet, then we'd want to have access to Feast and Famine to potentially swing through. But if they were gonna Bring to Light for a Supreme Verdict, then we want to hold on to the Stoneforge. Alright. Flagstones. It seems like a greedy one out of your 5-color Bring to Light deck. What are you up to, opponent? I think I need to get the extra points of damage in here. Whole day of Shadow without TBR. I know it's terrifying. I don't like it either. I'm scared and confused. Really hoping my opponent just... Alright. Hear me out here. Why would our opponent not just cast the Bring to Light? They didn't know about Stubborn Denial, right? Let's see. Show game. I'm pretty positive they didn't know about Stubborn Denial. Ghost, maybe, but I don't think that's like enough evidence by any means. I just feel like if you've got the card, why not, you know, cast the card? Nah, Tide Hall is good here. But I need to check the game log, because if they did see, it should say what they saw with Valki. Snap, Seize, Street Red, Polluted Delta back. Yeah, they didn't know about Stubborn Denial. I don't know if they were ghosting for that, power to them, but that just seems like a misplay. Good draws are good. Maybe they just didn't have anything that they could get off of it. Are we playing the same opponent? Kill their way to tutor up a Valki here. You know, Basic Forest is one of their last two draws. Shadow, pass. The idea here is if they like whiff for a turn or two, next turn we can Teferi bounce the Dryad, hit in a big attack, and then they like can't bring to light. They could replay Dryad, but that spends their whole turn and they have to chump block. Or they miss land drop. No, they hit it. Alright, so because we drew Marsh Flats, we'll cast Teferi off what we have. That way, if I bounce this Dryad and we draw into Stubborn Denial, we can cast it. But that's just lethal, right? Yeah. Fetch Shock, get Watery Grave or Second Godless Shrine. Watery Grave's fine. Cast Thoughtseize. And we attack in for exactly 20 as long as our opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt. Which they do not. And hiya. Alright. Match number 5. Match number 5 with his bumpin' music. So I hope everybody who's getting ready to crack a bunch of Time Spiral Remastered packs, take some pictures so you can share them with the group afterwards. So I want to see all the sweet pulls. They revealed Luris, land Swiftspear, attack. So let's get Swamp and Thoughtseize. Alright, so it is Rakdos Shadow. So we'll take their Thoughtseize. They can fetch up a Blood Crypt. Swiftspear, Bauble, sure. Kraken. We can fetch up Basic Island with our Flooded Strand. Scour ourselves and play Gurmag. Go. So opponent's hand is a Death Shadow, an Unknown, and they'll have 2 more Unknowns after their draw step. It's Jund Shadow. Alright. Blocks. If you want to bolt me in the face, you're welcome to. If not, you're gonna have to bolt yourself if you want to get the shadow down. Just add Luris to the hand, sure. So we called the Lightning Bolt. How am I doing this? Guess we just have to take Luris. This one might get a little dicey. There's a sword. Me, sure. Did you draw the second bolt? Did draw the second bolt. Alright. So Guile, Drown are great. Path is great. A Spellbomb's okay. Wraith's a little rough. Tide Hollow's not the greatest. What else? Some Hand Disruption. If I want to Fairy, probably not. Alright, what do we got? Not the greatest. Alright, so I'm stone forging. What am I stone forging for? Probably Feast and Famine. Yeah. There's just like no way they don't have a removal spell for my Stoneforge. So I don't want to be sitting here with like a dead Feast and Famine in hand. Dismember, sure. Get to play the Veil of Summer game. Are you just trying to play a Shadow? Sure. Last card's removal spell. I don't think I'm beating it, so... like such. Alright. When we got their lightning bolts. Not much we can do about that one. Yet again, loss with Esper coming to not hitting third land on curve. That's just so rough. Like, I guess that's one of the things that I'm not super fond of when it comes to Esper, is it just pushes your curve so much this way. Like, so much towards the top end. Because you just can't play super efficient cards if your reason to go white is like Stoneforge, Teferi, Kaya's Guile, Kaya, Tide Hollow. Like, you're just all kind of gumming up this way. And not even like 2 mana for effective threats. Like 2 mana for a creature that's very easy to kill. Esper Miss Land Drops, name a more iconic duo. But we did have a 3-2, so it's not like it was not feeding the kids. But I still am not particularly fond of Esper. Even after today, I know we had a 4-1 with Esper. It should be the easiest let's play this deck more ever. But I still don't think that the spells quite line up the way we want them to. Caligaletto, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you for coming by and hanging out. Yeah, like, I don't like my Shadow deck having to hit 3-4 lands to really function. With all of our other variations, you hit that second land, you can at least play Magic, right? You might not be playing all of the spells you can, but you're at least doing something proactive and getting on the board, putting pressure on your opponent. These don't feel like they're putting pressure until turn 3, 4, 5. Whenever you hit that third land. Otherwise, some changes I might consider would be like cutting a sword in the 4th. Alright, so first off with this build, Bauble over Thought Scour. We realized that when we signed up for the league and probably should have honestly just backed out and restarted, but we were too late, too far in. So if we like cut the Scour and went with Bauble. If we cut 4th Stoneforge, cut Fire and Ice is I think like the less impactful of the swords options. Cut Tide Hollow. Did what? Cut 3rd Inquisition. That frees up a lot of space to play with. So maybe something closer to this. Can even like add the Inquisition back in. Maybe something closer to that. And sideboard, just like add a couple slots for some of the potentially problematic matchups. But like if you're playing Death Shadow, the reason you're playing Shadow is to be as efficient as you possibly can. So like the more you have these cards stuck in hand, the worse your deck is is being efficient. But we'll kind of mess around over the coming weeks and see if we find out anything. Tomorrow we're going to be back to a test day since we've got the challenges and the premiere events coming up this weekend. So we're going to get ready for those, figure out what kind of list we're playing. In the meantime, I'm going to send everybody over to Everos, who's playing some Heliod combo in Modern. If you decide to stick around, feel free to share some love from the channel. Other than that, appreciate everybody coming out and hanging around on this Thursday afternoon. And thank you for all the new follows as well as the new subs. Always enjoy the continued support. Glad we're able to make a really awesome channel here and have such great viewer contribution. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their Thursday. Enjoy some good food, good company, stay safe, and I will catch y'all back here tomorrow with some version of Shadow, I guess. So, see y'all then.